Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. This is episode 450 of the Ping Pong Flix Show. There's been some Snyder Cut updates for us today, and well, I would like to start off with is Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill is being, have a lot of questions and answers being asked about the Snyder Cut during his Witcher screenings. And now I heard that Witcher is pretty good so far and has got some good reactions so far, so that's kind of exciting. Would like to watch. I don't know anything about The Witcher. I haven't read anything yet. I even had time to play the video games. I know PlayStation Store had some pretty good deals on that. Didn't pick it up, but I would like to though. But a lot of people have been asking about Henry Cavill, right? About the Snyder Cut, about Superman. Why didn't he respond on November 17th when almost every cast member was doing the hashtag release the Snyder Cut? Well, Kevin McCarthy actually questioned a little bit about Man of Steel and Superman and a little bit of Snyder Cut. So I'm just going to play it for you right now.
That I'm such a fan of your work, and
thank you very much.
I think Man of Steel is an absolute masterpiece that I've seen 35 million times.
You and me both, man.
I think you are genuinely the greatest Superman to ever live, and I want you to continue playing the character.
Thank you very much.
I just wanted to know your thoughts real fast, if you had any. I know you're waiting for this question all day, but what are your thoughts on people being so vocal about the Snyder Cut, and is it something that you have seen, or would you want to see it?
I have not seen any Snyder Cut. I don't know if there's anything that exists that is a Snyder Cut. I'm sure there's footage out there which has probably been pieced together over the years. I'm always interested to see how that stuff turns out, but that is very much a chapter in my past. I would rather talk about what is going to happen in the future, the future of Superman, how I can express that character from the comic books, which ties in nicely to Man of Steel. Man of Steel, I really like that movie, and I'd like to be able to tell the story where it was left at that point.
Will we get that?
I can tell you nothing.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so awesome if that happens.
It would indeed be awesome.
This character doesn't necessarily fit in, and
Okay, so later on he talks about toxic fandom and stuff like that, and how he doesn't necessarily think toxic fan. It's just passionate fans, which is kind of true. They don't know where to put their anger and stuff like that, so they go online and do that. But anyway, in terms of Man of Steel, him supporting the Man of Steel, but wanting to go from there. Just from that point, a lot of people are saying he's disregarding BVS and Justice League, which could be true, but I think maybe he's trying to say he wants a Man of Steel, sequel, using Man of Steel as the point, jumping off point in order to make his own Superman version of Superman, his own Superman character, and which I think is something that Jason Momoa got to do with Aquaman 2, Wonder Woman's. Gal Gadot is getting to do from Wonder Woman to Wonder Woman 1984, and maybe Henry Cavill would like that as well. He doesn't have anything, and that's probably why he really wants to push that idea to get more of that. Now, in terms of his comments for the Snyder Cut, he really played around that idea. He did say he's wondering how that would turn out, so he's not hashtagging release the Snyder Cut, but he is trying to play around. He's just tiptoeing around politically in a way, in terms of that Snyder Cut, and I think a lot of that has to do with Danny Garcia. I think Danny Garcia, his agent, is really working hard to making sure he doesn't go, kind of put him on a tight leash, because she's probably trying to get him a Superman contract with the studio. And so in his mind and their mind, and the Henry Cavill crew, that possibly saying release the Snyder Cut could potentially maybe damage those negotiations relations in order to get his own Superman out, right? Does that mean we need him for the Snyder Cut? No, actually, no. We probably don't need him for the Snyder Cut, and the Snyder Cut will come out eventually without his help, without him supporting and hashtagging it. He will get royalties for it because he is in the movie. He did shoot it, but I know he's playing coy with that, but for most of the part, I think he's him and his camp is really thinking about his future as to keep the suit on, keep the cape on, and continue being Superman. Right? This is another one where. I forgot this guy's name, but the interviewer asked him a little bit about the Snyder Cut, so a little bit more why he kept silent on November 17th. This is kind of a playful response, but I'll let you decide.
Wrap up. November 17th was the 2-year anniversary of Justice League. A lot of members, a lot of your co-stars were tweeting out about release the Snyder Cut. People noticed that you were silent that day.
Right.
Was there a particular reason why you did not say anything on November 17th?
I wouldn't say there's any particular reason. I miss my moustache, which is the most important thing. And for me, it was just a harrowing reminder that I didn't have it anymore. And so I just didn't want to dig that wound any deeper.
Fair enough. Oh, well, I generally, as a fan, I hope that we see many more seasons of this and many more Superman movies.
Thank you very much.
So, again, he kind of really tiptoed. I mean, he joked about the mustache and everything, and a gentle reminder. A lot of people are looking into these comments and trying to dig real deep. This is my opinion on this: is that he is here with the guidance of the Garcias in order to promote The Witcher. His focus right now is to promote Netflix The Witcher. They are always expecting that the interviewer will probably ask a Superman question. They'll probably ask a Snyder Cut question, and it's in their best interest, at least Garcia's best interest, in order to keep the questions and keep the conversation to The Witcher. Because I think in the other interview when he was talking about Superman, he kind of, Henry Cavill kind of reeled it back to the conversation of The Witcher. I could feel, I could see that actually happening, in this interview. And so I could totally see that that's what their intention was. And of course, they had the Jimmy Kimmel Live. I don't think they talked too much about Superman there. It's all about The Witcher. Everything is to promote The Witcher. That's his baby right now. He really wants, they really want this thing to succeed for his star power to get more growth out of that, because essentially, he was Superman. That's a big character. He played Superman in at least 2.5 movies. We never got to see the other one, but for the most part, he doesn't have that, I guess, that safe haven right now. He doesn't have a Superman movie out there, and I don't know what negotiations they're trying to do to get Superman movie, whether it's again getting Chris McQuarrie involved or I don't know, J.J. Abrams or somebody. I mean, a lot of people are saying J.J. Abrams, but who knows if J.J. Abrams wants Henry Cavill to be a Superman. Look at Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves wanted somebody else. He wanted Robert Pattinson to be his Batman, and so that left Ben Affleck high and dry. But of course, that's a different vision altogether, and it could possibly be JJ wants his own vision for Superman, right? But in any case, like I said, the Snyder Cut doesn't really actually need Henry Cavill to support or release the Snyder Cut. It would be nice. I mean, I am fairly disappointed that he didn't at least support the hashtag release the Snyder Cut, although I do understand his position in trying to get his own Superman contract when the Snyder Cut finally comes out, right? it's he's already filmed it. They just had to do some touch ups or whatever it takes. He already filmed it. He's gonna get residuals. He's gonna get payment for it, and so on and so forth. What's probably gonna be disappointing to me is that even after the Snyder Cut comes out, and then there may be a chance, possibly if the Snyder Cut does good, that maybe they'll allow Zack Snyder to finish Justice League 2 and 3. But will Justice League 2 and 3, will Henry Cavill come back to do those films? That's the question I'm wondering. Because I think it's inevitable for the Snyder Cut. But if we're going to get 2 and 3, will Henry Cavill return to be Superman for Zack Snyder's 2 and 3? Or does he want to continue on being his own version of Superman, his own story, a different take on Superman, with another director, or so on and so forth? Does that mean, I'm not talking about loyalty here, I'm just talking about what is their interest, what is the Garcia's interest in that? But I'm optimistic that when the Snyder Cut comes out, people love it, right? And people want to see, they're getting more excited for Superman. And Warner Brothers is like, you know what? Hey, we don't like your take so far on there, but we kind of like what Zack Snyder is trying to do with you. So if you want to be Superman, Mr. Henry Cavill, then we've got 2 contracted movies. This is just me guessing, and it's called Justice League Part 2 and Part 3. So if you do want to continue being Superman, you can go ahead and do those films. Otherwise, we don't know what to do with you. Or there's the third option, right? There's a third option, and that is Superman has 2 different worlds he inhabits, right? Like Wonder Woman 1984, essentially they're saying it's possibly going to retcon what happened in BVS. So if that's the case, then Wonder Woman 1984 inhabits a DCEU world outside in a different type of universe, and Aquaman also inhabits a different type of universe as well. Therefore, being that however the Snyder Cut is released, maybe it's HBO Max, it could inhabit its own Snyderverse world, and at the same time, we could have the same character play a different version of themselves in the theaters, in another different universe, and they'll actually look physically, the costume, everything would look different for that point being. So it's possible. I'm just saying that's the third option, where everybody gets to have their cake and eat it too, and I think that would actually be a good thing for all parties. We get our Henry Cavill as the Snyder Superman. We get our Henry Cavill for sequel Supermans in the other universe, possibly directed by somebody else. And he'll enjoy contracts and residuals and whatever for both sides of the universe, including everybody else, Wonder Woman, The Flash, and we'll have our little everybody, the people who just want that old DCU Snyderverse. They can have it. And if they don't want to watch the ones in the theaters, that's fine. You got your own universe. For DC fans like myself, I'll take everything. So I'm being optimistic about that. I don't know what's really going on, but I can pretty sure that the Snyder Cut will definitely come out, and it doesn't need Henry Cavill to support the Snyder Cut. So, but best of luck to him. Best of luck to The Witcher, and best of luck to if he can get a new contract as Superman. Okay, so now that we're on the Snyder Cut, Leonardo Oliveira posted this today, and he actually got to meet Fabian Wagner. So today I went to Fabian Wagner's masterclass, and it was so great. I got to ask him a few questions, even get him to sign my printed poster of an unused Snyder Cut shot. This is the poster right here. Of course, that's a shot that was released. He put down keep digging. Now that could be a double meaning cyborgs keep digging, or he's telling us, the fans, or telling Leonardo here to keep digging for more on the Snyder Cut. It's there for you to see it. Now, he was able to record some video here, and I'm going to play it to you right now. Now, it is kind of hard to hear, so hopefully you can catch it, but there are some important parts later.
Version of Zack Snyder's cut. You already done it, or it's not ended?
I have no idea, to be honest. I don't know. I know that Zack has worked on stuff. I know Jason said that he's seen it. I don't know. If there is a Zack Snyder cut, I hope it's better than the one that's out now.
But you work with him. How is he? It's ended?
Yeah, he's amazing. I mean, that was such an amazing job. I loved doing that job. You know, it's a crap film, but I had the best time of my life on that job. You know, it was super fun. He's a really nice guy to work with. He's very creative. He gave me a lot of freedom. You know, I have every single toy I can ever imagine I had on that job. So it was great fun. But it doesn't matter because the film's still rubbish.
So I don't know if you caught that last part where he actually said Zack Snyder was good fun. He got toys and stuff like that, and but it doesn't matter because the movie was rubbish. So here's some more, and this is about the VFX a little bit more. Again, thank you so much for Leonardo for putting this on.
Why the special effects of Justice League is not so good? For example, Superman's mustache.
Yeah, but that was because, so I did the principal photography with Zack, and we finished shooting. He started editing. I went to LA to do the color grade for the trailers. So the first three trailers of Justice League, they were all the things that we shot. And then they decided to reshoot. 7 months later, they did a reshoot, which was not that. I wasn't there, it was a completely different team. And they actually reshot, I think, 55 days. So the movie that's in the cinema, was in the cinema is like maybe 10% is the stuff that we shot, everything else is a reshoot. So I don't know what Zack's. I know how he would look because when you watch the first three trailers, those are the ones that we made. So that's all our stuff. So I know how he would look if it was a Zack Snyder cut. I don't know what the film would be like.
Okay, so if you didn't hear that, Leonardo actually posted what he actually said here with about editing and things like that. I want to focus in on this part of the section of that comment here. And it said this: several months later, and other reshoots, I was not there. I wasn't there. It was a completely different team. And they actually reshot, I think, 55 days. So the reshoots took 55 days. Very short for a giant action epic movie, right? So, and it shows. So the movie that was in cinemas is like maybe 10% is the stuff that we shot. Everything else is a reshoot. Now that is amazing. I don't know if he's being accurate right there, but if you think about 10%, meaning it's a 120-minute movie or 119, depending how you look. 120, let's say 120, round it up. 10% of that. Now I know there's credits and stuff, but just example. 10% of a 120-minute movie is 12 minutes. 12 minutes? Like 12 minutes is what Zack shot, and you're like, how could that be? How could, even if it's 30%, or even if it's just a little, how can his name be on that? Well, I think in regards to the DGA, is that as long as Zack Snyder shot 90+% of the principal photography, it's still his movie. And it does. I guess it doesn't matter how much it's edited down because he didn't have final cut. The final cut. What do you call them? The authorization authority at the end of the production. So that does make sense that his Zack Snyder's name is still on there. Either he got fired or he walked away. I don't know. But that's crazy enough to think that even if it's 10% or 20%, we literally have not seen the Snyder Cut. Now, and that's just for the people who keep saying that, it's not going to be any different, and it's going to be essentially the same thing, maybe a few pieces of scenes together. What Fabian says here it should be a huge eye-opener for those people saying that. They should see this, and it's like, wait a minute, we never actually saw the Snyder Cut. Like, not even a little bit, I mean, there is a little bit, but not even a whole lot in order to actually fathom what type of movie Zack Snyder put out. So I thought this was so interesting. I don't know if he actually said this during the comic book debate interview or not, but I thought I'd point this out here. It's amazing stuff, and it makes you really curious, even for the deniers that, well, I want to see 90%, the other 90%, and where it's placed in the timeline, and how much work they put into it. Like years work put into this movie, and only to show 55 days of reshoot material. It just says really something about Warner Brothers at that time, and hopefully they've changed their mind. But that's a little bit more for that. So Leonardo, thank you so much for capturing that footage and actually getting to meet Fabian Wagner. That's awesome. More Snyder Cut support. This is from Joel Manganiello. Wanted justice for his Justice League shoot with Snyder Cut post. This is from Entertainment Weekly. Now, I think he's being very careful with his comments, but it seems to be kind of clear here. I don't know who started that. Manganiello says of this release, the Snyder Cut hashtag that was trending on Twitter on November 17th. Because of the cancellation of Batman and the various other projects that my character was going to be in, I never got to release them. So he kind of almost implying that he wanted to release this because he knows it's injustice that had happened, and he's kind of possibly very very irritated and annoyed by that fact, just like other people as well. I honestly want to stop talking about it. I don't really like talking about things that didn't happen. I have a ton of photos from the set photographer that were never going to release, that were sitting on my computer. One day I thought, if I don't put them out now, they're never going to come out. I might as well get them out to the public. So he is just putting it out there, and kind of in a way just wanted to share this with the world that, hey, I was supposed to be Deathstroke. My part got cut out. What initially was supposed to lead to his own movie was cut out, and I'm gonna try and just support the Snyder Cut movement. Hopefully, maybe that will stir things up, possibly in order for his movie to be made, or at least people get excited for Deathstroke once again. So I think there's more to that Deathstroke scenes. I think there's more to it. And hopefully we'll get to see that soon when they finally release the Snyder Cut. And possibly one of the biggest things that happened today is in regards to Chris Terrio. As you know, Chris Terrio has wrote Justice League, yes, and Batman v Superman, but also Rise of Skywalker, the Star Wars movie coming out December 20th. And so it is time that a lot of people, different people, are starting to be able to ask him questions and interview him in regards to Rise of Skywalker. Being that he also wrote Justice League, it seems very possible and probable that he'd get asked the question about the Snyder Cut, seeing that how release the Snyder Cut had trended successfully, how big it got. Even Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot retweeted that and stuff like that, and other people in the industry also as well got people talking. So this is a great opportunity for all these different people on different projects getting asked about the Snyder Cut, just like Henry Cavill, and what I believe Gal Gadot will also be asked pretty soon for Wonder Woman 1984. So Chris Terrio was asked by Uprocks, but Mike Ryan from Uprocks, and here's a snippet from that interview. Mike Ryan, I can't believe I'm asking this. All right. You wrote Justice League. I'm under the impression the Snyder Cut exists and it's privately being shown, but it's not what people think it is. It's in that there's no effects or post-production. Chris Terrio said this. The thing is, I can't really speak to that at this moment, but I promise that I will talk to you about that very thing at some point after this film. This film meaning Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars. Well, we have a lot to talk about on a future date. Yes, we do. We seriously do. And that I'm being just judging from that tone and the way it's presented here, he really has a lot. He's ready to sing like a bird about what happened with the Snyder Cut and possibly other things as well. But I think I'm kind of excited for this one because he's very much was together with Zack Snyder. They like Zack Snyder said, him and Terrio wrote this whole Justice League epic they never got to shoot. All his a lot of the lines that was probably inside Justice League was tampered with. It was killed and rewritten by Joss Whedon to get it more Avenger-ish. So he's got to be going to be very, very vocal about the Snyder Cut, and I can't wait for that. And the way he says that we get to talk about this thing after this film at some point now. We don't know if that's months from now, years from now, but at some point after this, Rise of Skywalker, he's gonna sing like a bird about the Justice League Snyder Cut, and because it seems like, I don't know if that means is an NDA or non-disclosure, or he's like, let's just concentrate on Star Wars for now, and then we'll talk about that later. Maybe possibly just like Henry Cavill, let's talk about Witcher for now. Let's get into that later, and that could possibly be it as well. So I'm not sure, but I'm really excited to hear what Chris Terrio has to say about the Justice League movie, right? I mean, what is he gonna say? Is he gonna start going hashtag release the Snyder Cut? Bam, 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 everything about the Justice League. I'm super excited about that, and I can't wait to see what happens. So where does that leave us? Well, we don't have currently anything from Warner Brothers, even though an insider has said pipe dream and whatnot. There is no current official statement from Warner Brothers in terms of the Snyder Cut. Zack Snyder has been pretty quiet nowadays, and so in all relation, I think everything is falling to the Brazil CCXP. I don't mean the Snyder Cut it's going to even be talked about there. Possibly, if there's a chance, maybe Gal Gadot could possibly be asked that very question. So that'd be something kind of exciting to hear. What if she did go hashtag release the Snyder Cut with an image from the Snyder Cut. If anybody would say something more about it, it'd be her at this point in time at the Brazil CCXP. So hoping for that, hoping to see more of that. But we're not going to be quiet during Brazil CCXP. I'm probably going to do a live chat on Sunday to at the same time the Brazil CCXP, the Warner Brothers 2020 panel, and also Wonder Woman 1984. But release the Snyder Cut at RT Snyder Cut did reassure us. We just want to reassure everyone that we have plans for CCXP. Big plans. Stay positive. Hashtag release Snyder Cut. So be on the lookout for possibly later on this week or sometime during the CCXP. They are going to kind of usher us into a new possible campaign, another trending Twitter campaign. I see there's different people over at Brazil. There are in the Snyder Cut movement. They'll possibly have something to present as well, or get people riled up as well. So there's going to be different opportunities, I believe, at Brazil CCXP to actually fight for the Snyder Cut as well. So be on the lookout for that. But that is it. I mean, that is it for today. Interesting day indeed. Didn't think it was going to have this much stuff coming out in terms of the Snyder Cut, but I'm very curious to see what happens tomorrow. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.